But anyway, this is a table of contents, kind of what we're gonna discuss. I'll go over, it won't take long for me to go through these, but go ahead and go to the next slide, Crystal. When we talk about tax increment financing, or what we call a TIF, tax increment financing, TIRS is a tax increment reinvestment zone. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into all of these things that you see here, but in essence, what all it is an economic development tool that the city can use, in essence, to pay developers for infrastructure that they put in into a certain area. Okay, and back in 2011, the city adopted this tax increment reinvestment zone. I believe at the time, Councilmember Trevino was a member of the council, and it's been dormant over several years, but we do have two current agreements, one with the Lindsay family and the other one with the Pollock family. And this would be, in essence, be our third agreement that we would undertake if the council moves forward. Again, but the idea is to basically reimburse developers for capital improvements to infrastructure, water, sewer lines, streets, curbs, gutters, drainage. Is primarily what the reimbursement would entail. So again, I'm not going to go into all that, but you can see the very bottom there is what exactly we could reimburse developers for with this reinvestment in this terms. Okay. Go to the next slide, please. We've done all this, okay, Council. There's a lot of steps that have happened here. The city has already done at least two. The third one has some of the folks that want to move forward with projects have at least provided an idea of what they want to do as far as their project. Where we are, and where we're moving forward with the current project with one of the developers is working on the project plan and the finance plan. Those are the two next steps. And you'll hear tonight part of what the project plan entails and ultimately getting to the finance plan. I'll let him describe that. And then the board of directors. If you recall, some of the council members that were here, there was 4 board members that the city has on this board. There's 3 members that the county has, and I believe the school district was offered a spot, and I believe the hospital has a spot. I believe the school district spot is still open. I don't think that was ever filled, and the hospital district did fill a spot with their CFO. So we have a board that consists of all those members, and they come in and we meet. We don't meet every month. We meet as projects start to develop and as we move forward with what we're doing. We've met with Mr. Cooper on a couple of occasions as far as this project, and so we're going to be looking forward to meeting again with the TIRS group, that board probably in the next month or 2. In essence, the tax increment fund to collect revenue and make payments is also handled by the TIRS. They make recommendations. Ultimately, those payments have to come to City Council for approval. Can you go to the next slide, Christine? This is one of the things that we talked about with the council, and I think is best when we're trying to meet these goals, and we still have work to do on this, okay? But one of the things that we look at the discussions that we've had in prior 2 years is the increased housing. We've talked about that. We've also talked about renovating downtown. We've talked about networking and partnering with the school district, the ISD, the county hospital. We talked about our finances, needing to work together with the community. And the thing there at the bottom is develop a strategy as it relates to economic development. One of the things we hope to have is the creation of the Chamber of Commerce, which I hope will happen before the end of this fiscal year. But those are the things that, just as a reminder to the council, those are the things we've been working on. And I believe that with this development, as far as this gentleman that wants to provide some housing, I think that would address, to some extent, one of those pillars, which is the increased housing opportunities. Next slide, please. This is what the TIRS is, okay? And I don't have, maybe I have a map, because it needs to be visual. The TIRS consists of it was created in December of 2011. There's approximately 685 acres in this TIRS, and there's approximately 120 landowners. The county joined and they agreed to participate January of 2014. Again, that was a reason for our meeting or discussion yesterday. They agreed to participate at 88% of the increment. And I can go into how that works in just a summary, but in essence, what it is just a payback of property taxes to the developer. I won't get into a lot of detail because it does get a little confusing. These agreements are set to terminate December 31st, 2036. And again, as I mentioned, the church has been dormant for several years. The city has put into this fund, it's a separate fund, the city has put in a little over $80,000. We did pay a consultant out of those dollars, and we're left with a balance of about $56,000 in that fund. Can you go to the next slide, please, Kristen? Again, these are our existing agreements. The 100-acre tract is the area around HEB. The other 80-acre tract is right across the street there, right there where the Pollock tract is at. Those are the existing agreements the city has. One of these here this is the actual TERS zone. It's in yellow. And if you guys want to see this a little closer, feel free to look at it after when you get a chance, I guess. But in essence, it covers a good portion of the city, but primarily a lot of it along I-35 and along our business corridor here, particularly the downtown area. Next slide, please. And part of this, what we're moving forward is looking at these agreements and see how we're going to move forward in the next few months. Again, some of this is getting to where you have at least one developer that's actually doing some design work and giving you an idea of what his development would look like with the understanding that he wants to use this incentive program. So, is there any other thing that's it, isn't it, Kristen? That's it. Well, just want to let you guys know again, please take the time to look at some of this map. And is there any questions from any council members?
Mr.
Yes, sir.
How long has this been in place, Fred?
2011. Yes, sir.
2011?
Yes, sir. It went in 2011, I think around the oil boom time. The county decided to join in 2014. And I say join meaning they would use, it's all based on property taxes. And so they would allocate a portion of that property tax into the city to pay the developers back for their investment into infrastructure. And so it's been alive. We initially, from what I gather and from the notes that I've seen, is I think initially it was the Pollocks and the Lindsays that were interested. And again, when the oil boom died down, it sounded like they kind of lost interest. But I don't know that we've ever gotten to a point where we have the developer that's actually doing some design work, and I say true design work, and spent money on engineers and getting some of this stuff done, so you guys can make some decisions as far as utilizing this program.
So we haven't had any project move since 2011?
No, sir. We've been putting into the fund. The city put into the fund, I believe, the first 2-3 years, and then no money went into the fund. What it is the fund is based on what we call the base, and then anything above the base, as far as property values, it goes into the fund. So in essence, I believe this area, this TERS zone, had a base value initially of around $12 million, I think. That value has gone up. And again, there haven't been very many improvements. That value has gone up 20, I can't remember. It's gone up millions as far as value. So the idea is any value that's increased from the base value is what comes back to this fund to set aside. And we, the city, have not been doing that. We are proposing to do that this year. I've asked the county through my presentation. I need to make sure that they understood what I was asking for yesterday. But we are asking that they participate and start, putting into the fund like we agreed as far as our agreement.
Yeah, this 2011, I think we're just a little behind. We got to kick it.
Yes, sir. I did.
Council, too, I'd like to acknowledge Councilwoman Rodriguez. When she was mayor, they put this in place, and many cities use that to incentivize developers to come in and do it. So to have that already in place and a mechanism that's ready to roll is a really, really Mr. Cooper gets up, you'll see how, it can, you know, our desire to have housing, it can get that jump started. So again, hats off to, Councilwoman Rodriguez for getting that in place and ready to roll. Okay, with that, folks, we're gonna move on to item 7A. This is a consent agenda, and as you know, with that, we really don't discuss it. It is to approve the last month's meeting. Certainly, I'm gonna ask for a motion in a second, and if there's any questions, if anybody's got any additions or corrections, identify them. If not, we're gonna go ahead and vote. You have a question, Councilman Leal?
You call for a motion?
Okay, I am calling, let me read it off. This is a consent agenda, a discussion to consider the minutes for the June 14th, 2022 regular meeting. I need a motion. We got a motion by Councilman Leon. I need a second. I got a second by Councilwoman Hernandez. Is there any questions? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, with that, folks, we're moving on to item 8A, new business. Action on the land use variance special exception application submitted by the Chavalon Maverick Development LLC for the property described as 79.59 acre tract of land out of the Pablo T. Survey 1412 abstract 531, Frio County. This is an action item. I'm going to call for a motion.
Mayor, did we skip the discussion and consideration for the regular meeting?
I'm sorry?
Did we skip the regular meeting? No.
That's what you just voted on.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just did
I
that.
thought we did the tax abatement.
No, ma'am. We just voted on that.
Okay.
So this is 8A. So, with that being said, I'll ask for a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Talamantes, a second. Second by Councilwoman Hernandez. Okay, with that, Fred, I think we're gonna turn the floor over to Mr. Cooper. And this goes hand in hand with the presentation that you just saw on the chart. This is Mr. Joseph Cooper with the Chavalon Maverick Development.
Or the developer that Mr. Reyes was mentioning the entire time. I have some supplements for you, and that are more from your package, and I'm not exactly sure why the engineering letter is so large, but hopefully made it easier to read.
We're good, I only have one contact.
Yeah, right? In the same way. So it's great to be back. I know that I've seen and presented to several of you on the TERS side of things, but I don't think I've presented to council in quite some time. I was here back in 2011 when things started with the TERS. I've had that property for a long time now, and I'm very excited that I think things have come together in the right way to be able to move forward to bring housing here. And when I say housing, I don't like to use the term affordable because that gives one connotation, but I kind of use more appropriate housing, nice houses, good stick-built slab homes. I have a development over in Germantown that'll give you a great idea of what those houses are like. We have gone through the process and have many meetings down here about the engineering, getting things done, getting things put in place. And where I am right now, I've got the engineering and I can talk to that right now, which is what we're talking about. But I need that because there are some variances needed because the subdivision ordinance doesn't exactly, has some things that we could improve the efficiency of the property if we looked at it. The other thing also is that because the TERS is in place, it affords me the opportunity to make it a little bit nicer. And that's one of the things that I really want to be able to do. Mr. Reyes was talking about how the TERS incentivizes developers. I will tell you, the TERS actually makes this project doable. Because from a finance standpoint, it's a little bit tricky to get the financial institutions interested in financing something where there hasn't been new homes or stuff like that. But with the TERS in place and the way the city is working with myself in the county, it creates a lot of excitement because everyone's working together. I won't skip the finance plan part because that's not ready yet, but I will tell you that the financial partner I'm working with is one I worked with for a long time, and they actually have mortgages. And one of the things they're looking to be able to do with this project is provide a no down payment, no PMI mortgage on this project, which is pretty significant to get things going. But to do that, we all have to work together. So I want a lot of questions. You're gonna see me a lot. If you look through some of this stuff I'm asking for variances, you'll be probably like, why are you asking for this? I like to make sure that all the Ts are crossed and Is are dotted. It's very, very important to me to make sure that we're all aware of everything that's going on and everything that needs to be done. So while some things may not make sense, I don't like to be in a situation where something could pop up in the future and come back. So there are 3 issues on the variance that we're asking for right now. I think you've all seen this. I think also the engineering package is in there as well.
Right.
So you've got a smaller package that's really hard to read. That's all the layout for sewer, water, roads, everything in there. The one that I've provided for you is a larger layout to show you where the property is as well as what we're looking to do with it. And it maps out to about 256 lots. It should go without saying I'm not going to put in 256 houses day one, but working together we can go as fast or as slow as appropriate for the marketplace here. I think I have a pretty good idea of what's going to be nice down here and what's going to work. And so, if we get phase 1 going and everything's sold out fast, I guarantee you new houses will be coming in on the rest of the phases. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
It's 256 houses.
Yes.
What is the minimum price of a house?
So my goal is to stay under $200,000. Part of what I'm trying to figure out right now is how much this thing's going to cost to get the infrastructure in. And so the reason to come ask for these variances is to figure out how much infrastructure is going to cost, and then I can start working on the whole plan. If we can get houses,
Right now, how the market looks,
yeah,
we know what everything costs.
right, exactly.
So what are we looking at that the minimum amount of one of these homes is
It
going to cost?
depends on how big it is. Really depends on how big it is. I mean, there are
Well, what's
developers.
the minimum that?
Well, the smallest house I've ever built is 1,250 square feet. I've seen developers do, there are people doing 400, 800 square foot houses. I'm not comfortable with that.
Okay.
If we all work together and say, no, that's great, we can look at those things. I'm open to it.
Yeah, the 1,250 square feet home, what's the average amount that would cost our citizens here in Pearsall a home?
I'm gonna guess on that one right now, but I'd probably say 160 to 170.
That's with the cost of material,
That's,
as of now?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that's a drive out price, although you wouldn't drive a house out, because it doesn't have wheels,
Yeah.
just to make sure we don't do,
Yeah,
wheels.
the
There's
only
no
reason
frame on it, nothing like
The
that.
only reason I'm asking that question is because I heard you say affordable homes. I work for THCA
Mhm.
Affordable Apartment Homes.
Right.
When you say affordable, are you meaning that you're gonna build any other homes that are gonna be able to be qualified for a FHA loan, a special kind of loan, a VA loan? Whenever you say affordable, that's what.
Oh, so they will all be FHA qualified.
Okay, so they're FHA homes,
They're all,
qualified homes?
sure, they'll
Okay.
all be FHA qualified,
Yeah.
they'll all be VA qualified. So I'm not, if that's to
Yeah, that's
answer your
what I,
question,
that's
yeah,
what I'm
that,
asking,
yeah.
okay.
That all depends on the individual that applies for the loan, correct?
In terms of,
As far as whether they're going conventional, FHA, VA,
they could, yes, absolutely, if they do an FHA loan, regardless, the home will qualify for
Right.
FHA financing. So they may do a VA loan, but it would still qualify for FHA
The reason I'm
financing.
asking is because the last, well, no, not the last. The one subdivision that was built 20 years ago, because I'm the one that put this thing into place, because we
Right.
want homes built
Right,
in
right.
Pearsall. But I also wanted affordable, that everybody could purchase these homes.
Yep.
I don't want it to be halfway built, nobody qualifies, nobody moves in. Joey Street, Norris Street, those were homes that were built back in maybe the 80s or early 90s, late 80s. And they were FHA homes, and a lot of these people lost their homes because of that balloon payment. I just want to be able to, I'm just looking into what our people are able to qualify for, and if we're gonna give everybody the opportunity to be a homeowner. That's
That-
where I was getting at with my question.
Absolutely, and that's, I wouldn't be looking at this project thinking I'm gonna go build $400,000 houses. I've spent a lot of time down here. I really enjoy
And we
working
need
with
housing, I just wanna make sure that the housing that is built for Pearsall is built for Pearsall.
Right, and it makes no sense for me to go in and build houses that I can't sell. Because the TERS doesn't reimburse the house, so, the
But we
TERS,
do have people that, I'm going back to the Nora and
Right.
Joey Street. It was very traumatic. I was very young when
Mhm.
that went on, but